Yeah, so I can just
All
get the
right.
link.
Yeah, to repost it. All right, well, we're live. Everybody, welcome to So What Do You Know About Business? Episode 20. I can't believe I'm always shocked every time I write which one it is. It just went by so fast. So, welcome. This is the Happy Hour podcast where typically 5 women entrepreneurs, we're down to 4 tonight, talk business, lessons learned, and just about life in general and juggling it all. It's the podcast where cocktails are not required but are highly recommended. So I'm Erin Smith. I'm your host. And you can always join us over in our Facebook group over at bit.ly/know K-N-O-W business. It's where we always keep the conversation going. Talk to us after 5 o'clock on Thursday. But this is a point where we go around, everybody introduces themselves. So tell us who you are, what's your business, and what you're drinking. Megan, I'm going to start with you tonight.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan from meganflat.com, and I am a business consultant and a time management strategist for moms who want to build and grow their dream businesses while being present for their families. And I am drinking coffee out of my new favorite mug. I don't know if you all recall, but I broke my favorite mug, and so now I've had to move on to the second contender. So got a nice little latte going on in there, though.
Very nice. All right, Chandra, I'm going to go to you next.
I just muted myself. Wrong time. Hi, I'm Chandra Ockberger. You can find me at chandrainc.com. I'm a serial entrepreneur and I will be successful at an artist career. I am here in Austin, Texas, which South by Southwest is starting up right now, and so I love seeing all the posts go up. I am drinking water. I missed last week because I was super sick and I lost 5 pounds, so I'm just going to keep on going until until I'm under 200. So when I reach under the 200-pound mark, I will start drinking again.
Awesome. Good goal. All right, Andrea, you're next.
Andrea Trevelyan. I help small businesses master their finances and processes, and then eventually personal finances. I am drinking white wine heavily because we're on spring break this week. We'll just say that we're on spring break this week. And in relation to South by Southwest, I think I found my new favorite music extravaganza, and it's here in Dallas, and it's next weekend, and it's called South by So What.
Who's going to be there?
Like tons of bands. I mean, a lot of them are actually the ones that are going to be at South by Southwest, but they're like, it's just, the list is amazing, and it's 3 days.
Interesting. All right, well, we've got Taylor coming in here. Taylor, are you ready to talk, or do you need a minute?
I mean, if I'm last to go, I'm ready.
Yeah, you're up. We're doing
Okay.
intros.
Okay, so let me put my headset in really quick. For more clarity. All right. Hello, I am Taylor Stevens, and I am a freelance marketer and copywriter, also pursuing dance and acting in Los Angeles. Today, I really could use a drink, but I don't have one at the moment. I'm hot, and I probably need water. I need to hydrate.
All right, well, you got a minute if you want to go get yourself some water. Because you're last in the rotation. So I'm Erin Smith. I am with the Starters Club. I help people build and grow their businesses organically. And I'm just drinking water. It's been one of those days where I don't know if I'm coming or going, and it's all of a sudden 5 o'clock, so I didn't have time to get a cocktail tonight. And honestly, I need to shoot video tonight, so I get too tipsy off a drink. I really do. So, all right, let's talk business. I don't have any specific topics to talk about tonight. I don't know if anybody does. So what we can just do is do roundtable, lessons learned in business. I know, Megan, you did I'd love for you, hopefully this is what you're going to talk about. If not, I know you did an online summit, or not a summit, but something like that. I'd love to hear how that went and kind of lessons learned of that, but I'll have you go up first. So if that wasn't your lesson, you get 2 things, because I definitely want to hear about how that went, if that's cool with you.
All right, cool. No, they definitely tie together. So I did an online summit last week called the Mama CEO Talks, and it was to kick off the launch of my mastermind that I run called the Mama Mastermind, which is a small group mastermind program for mom business owners. And so this Mama CEO Talks was to kick off, and the cool thing about it, I'll give you a couple things that worked really well, a couple things that maybe I would have done different. So the guests, for the most part, we did short interviews. I pre-recorded them and sent them out via email versus having everyone have to be there at a set time, both the guests and, because my audience are busy moms and in different time zones, I just thought I wanted to get them the content. It wasn't about being there at 10 a.m. It was about getting the content. And that worked really well. And it worked. I was able to pre-record all the interviews. And as we were chatting before we started, I actually ended up getting the stomach flu right in the middle of the summit. So had those interviews not been pre-recorded, I would have been in trouble. But the other idea that Jules actually gave me, the way I structured it is I sandwiched the summit. We did 10 20-minute interviews, and I had those all distributed on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then I sandwiched the summit on the first day. We did a live Google Hangout with some other Mama CEOs, just talking about successes and struggles in business, and that went so well. It was really fun. Really, like, Jules was one of them. My friend Susie Faraday Caesar was another one. It was a really great talk. And then I finished off the week on the last day hosting a solo webinar where I talked about how to plan your week for success and how to structure your week as a mom business owner. And so I really liked the mix. I liked, people got these little snippet interviews during the week, plus some live events, chance to ask me questions. So it went pretty well, yeah. You look like you're going to ask me something.
Well, I was just going to say, so it sounded like it went really well, but you said there were a couple things you wish you would have done differently.
Well, so I think there's always, it doesn't matter how, so, and I think we talked about this, I feel like. So when I had this idea, like, months ago to do this, it's like, oh, it's going to be so easy, right? We always think things are going to and it just, it took a lot more time, just like everything, right? Everything takes a lot more time and a lot more investment than you think, and getting everyone scheduled for the interviews, and then people had to cancel and reschedule, and getting everyone to turn in their bio and their headshot, and all of that logistical stuff. And I'm so thankful that I have a VA and that I had, kind of a team to help out with that aspect. So that was definitely one piece. And I'm also, I could have, or I was surprised I actually didn't get more signups than I did. I'm very happy with the number of people that signed up, but I'm surprised that I didn't get more signups. And I think it has a lot to do with kind of calling it the Mama CEO Talks. Maybe that wasn't the best title, or maybe I didn't explain well enough what we were going to be talking about, or maybe it seemed too overwhelming to people with that many interviews in a short time period. Or maybe I just didn't promote it well enough. Who knows? Who knows? So those are always things that you can kind of, look back on and say, okay, next time I do it, I'm gonna tweak things a little bit. But yeah, so that's cool. So that was the summit. Yeah. So now I'm smack in the middle. The cart is now open. This was my original lesson learned, is I'm right in that spot, whenever you're launching a program where you come off the summit for me, or the freebie, or whatever you're doing some early bird pricing, you're getting some sales, people are excited, and then you get to this point in the cart where your early bird price has ended, but there's still a week left of sales, and it's a little quiet. It's like, and it happens in every launch, and I'm okay with it, but there's still a little bit of, like, I keep checking your email. So trying to do some things to just keep that conversation going, and opening up some free consults, and, just some different things like that, sending out some outreach emails and things like that, just to keep those conversations going. So that's my other lesson, is just,
It's the hardest. I try not to check my email. I'm like, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. Because, yeah, I don't have it go to my email when somebody automatically signs up. I don't want to know.
Oh, that's good.
That's good. And I'm like, I'm going to check it in a couple days, because it's not, we'll see.
Oh, that's good. No, I'm checking it like every 30 seconds.
You guys have your, I know you mentioned before, Megan, that you're working on, or maybe I think that setting up your autoresponders like for this, were those all like set up ahead of time for this particular launch and stuff, or?
No, and I'm definitely working on, I'm really happy with the content that I have coming out during the launch, all the way from the Mama CEO Talks through to the different blog posts I've done. I did a day in the life post with Tara Gentili, which was awesome. And I've got a great, I just did a video interview with Lacey Boggs that's going to be coming out next week. And so I'm really happy with the content that's coming out, but no, as much as I am a planner, I did not have this. I mean, I have it planned ahead of time. It's not done ahead of time. I'm still, I'm still scrambling to get, okay, got to finish that email, got to finish that thing. So
I have 2 questions, Megan, really quick. While I was getting situated, maybe you said it, or I'm not sure if you did, but how did you promote it?
The summit, the Mama CEO Talks. Primarily Facebook, in my Facebook group. I'm still not feeling comfortable with Facebook ads. I need to get more savvy with Facebook ads. I need a lesson from Erin, because that's something that I feel like I could have, and it was like on my short list to do, and I just didn't get to the Facebook ad. I feel like especially for a free event like that. I also think I could have. Some people, just like anything, some of the participants really promoted it and some didn't, and I could have facilitated that a little more, just kind of helped out with that a little more. I sent them pre-written posts and things like that, but could have worked that a little more. And then I did an Instagram challenge the week before to kind of lead into the summit.
That is so cool. I'm so excited for you. Which leads to my second question for other people listening and stuff, because I feel like since we've been committing to this Mastermind Google Hangout, I feel like you're snowballing, which is really cool. I feel like we're watching it happen. How long would you say it took you to get to this point of creating this summit with your business?
Well, how long have I been in business, or what?
Yeah, how long would you say you've built up your business to this point of being able to offer summits?
Yeah, well, I've been doing the online business thing this is my 3rd year of doing online business, and I actually did a summit 2 years ago when my focus was a little different. My focus was just on moms and helping moms take better care of themselves, and I did summer camp for moms, which was really fun, but a different focus. And then it was really January of last year, so January of 2014, where I decided to focus primarily on business coaching. And then I really saw that business take off this last summer.
That's awesome.
So that's kind of, and so thank you. Thanks for saying that. But yeah, I do feel like it's snowballing too. So
well, because your group just hit 1,000 people too, which is awesome.
Yeah, my group just hit. I think I'm at 1,025 as of today. So, and it's funny because each little milestone, I kind of don't want it to get any bigger because I love it. I love this little intimate group. And when we hit 400, I was like, okay, let's stop. I'm not letting anyone else in. Let's just keep the 400 of us. But yeah, it's at 1,000 people now, and it's a really lovely, supportive group and really fun place to be. The Mama CEO Club on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, that's good. I always love to hear, sorry if it's moving, lessons learned. I'm always intrigued by it because I love the concept of it. I thought it was really good, so I was interested in hearing how it turned out. So
I'll just, and then I don't want this all to be, we go on to someone else, but just to clarify what I meant, with the signups and kind of the title, just for comparison's sake, last fall, I did a webinar that was how to plan your 2015. And I think that was so clear and so concrete, people just knew exactly what we were going to be doing in it. And I had double the signups that I had this round, over double the signups that I had this round. So I think the Mama CEO Talks was maybe a little more, people just didn't know what they were signing up for. And so that, just comparing the two, the one in the fall was it was very hands-on. People knew, they knew exactly what they were getting from signing up for plan your 2015. That was just really clear. And this one, I think maybe people were like, oh yeah, that sounds cool, maybe I'll sign up, or I just don't think there was that drive to sign up for it. So that will be my official lesson learned.
No, it's a good point too, because you don't know, like with the summits, it's like, well, what if I can't get there, or what, there's a lot of questions where a webinar, you can either attend or you can't, and there's one replay that you're going to need to watch. That's it. Right. Where I totally get that. Yeah. All right, Chandra, you got a big shoes to follow on that one.
Well, I would say tagging onto that, like, yes, but like being crystal clear about anything, like your message is always like super important, but also you're at the beginning, your other one was at the beginning of Q4, and it was the time of year that everybody's thinking about, right? Like I want to be ahead of the game to do this. So like it's really important to look at your target audience before doing anything like this, right? While you're marketing, see what's working and what's not, and kind of test out what would be more appealing in Q1, exactly. Right? And to like get people on the road. Something I learned, actually talking about a couple things I learned. One, set up systems so when you have to leave town or get sick or both, that things run smoothly. I don't have a VA, and I enjoy being a DIYer, right? But like there are certain things but that's because I know a lot of software and I have a lot of automation built into everything that I do, basically. But I'm just starting this most recent business and trying to get into the art world, but I have not set up my systems correctly in order to keep things running smoothly when I had to take off for a week that was completely unexpected, right? And then it ended up, I had a relapse of being sick actually earlier this week on Monday, and I was kind of moving slow on Monday as well. So essentially setting up systems so that if something happens to you, or someone else in your life that you're taking care of, you're a caregiver or whatever, like things have to at least run at like this like bare minimum, right? Like you can't just stop everything. And I don't really look at like clout numbers very much, but sometimes I set up posts, like automatic posts through them. And I looked today and I was like, oh my gosh, I've dropped like 6 points on clout. And not that I don't care about that, but I thought that was very interesting that like I didn't have anything set up. I didn't have the chance to do my normal, automatic posts that go out. I didn't have a chance to do these things. And I very easily could have set up in IFT a month-long thing if I just if I planned out a little bit longer, and just having these like systems, however you're going to do it, have a person do it for you or have a system, like it's just really important to be clear with yourself and your goals and the systems that you put in place to make things happen. So I think that.
No, I would agree. I'm all about, even just because that's one thing with social media. You don't want to schedule everything, but if you leave it up to chance, you're screwed. I mean, if one day, because I just even say like here, the morning happens. Okay, I've got kids, I've got dogs, and all of a sudden it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, what just happened to the day? And if it was, me tweeting my morning, nothing would be tweeted. So I keep freezing, but. I'm a Meet Edgar fan, and I actually have Facebook pages that I run that aren't linked to my business, but they are relevant to my business, and there'll be some sharing involved. And I just have it on a rotation that I don't even have to think about, and those are slowly, organically growing. I'm not putting any money to it, but all it is a Meet Edgar just getting scheduled every day, and it works. I mean, you have to everything. I agree.
And also life too, like, because I mean, I have my son Atlas is turning 6 in 2 weeks. So like I didn't get invitations out and planning a party and all that. So now I'm sending emails, which I love Boomerang. If you want a tool for your Gmail, absolutely love Boomerang, because you can have you can schedule out these conversations that you end up having, even if they're last minute, so they don't end up being, taking up your time when you're supposed to be doing something else. So that was just the, tip. But all that has to be incorporated, right? Even the personal life, I had to design an invitation and get it out to people so people will show up. What would be the worst thing? It's your kid doesn't have anybody show up at his birthday party, and you are the worst parent ever in the world.
I did the 2-week plan also, and let's just say thank God for eat-bite. Seriously, it's. But I actually, first of all, I'm going to second the whole Meet Edgar thing. If it wasn't for Meet Edgar, social media would, or did, up until 4 months ago when I signed up for it, it dominated my day, because I have a bunch of niche sites too that weren't getting attention. And now that I took the time to actually feed it all into Meet Edgar, those pages are growing without me even doing a thing. I might write a new article every couple months, and it's just, processes are really huge, and it's one of the things I actually help my clients with, because if you don't have a process, when life does get out of hand, when you get sick or something happens, not only is your brain not working, so let's say you're sick and you're still trying to do the basics, it doesn't click. So it helps to pull up your process and go, oh, that's what I'm forgetting. And then at the same time, if you're out of the loop, what do you need to keep sustaining? What is it going on? And can your client still be taken care of? Because even if you're the only person, processes are crucial. And I think most small business owners are oh, I don't need a process manual, because they're thinking corporate. And it's no. Your process can be a freaking checklist in Evernote or on Google Drive or whatever it is, but you got to have a process, period.
I agree. See if anybody else. All right, Andrea, we're up to you.
Okay. So I've actually had a ton of lessons this week, a ton. But right now, it's all about surviving spring break. And when my son heads off to baseball practice tonight, I will be opening another bottle, because this isn't my first class.
Welcome to my everyday.
It's actually, it helped me, it spurred me on to booking summer camps, because I had it in my head that he's 10 now, I don't need as many camps. So we've been booking a ton of camps this week, because it doesn't work. Outside of that, which lesson has been the best? I mean, I really seriously have had so many lessons this week, but I think the biggest one is when you're looking at your marketing journey, there's multiple stages. You have the entire world, and then you have to pull them into your funnel. So you pull them into your email list, and then kind of move them through to clients, and asking for referrals and the whole thing. And my struggling point has always been in the receiving. It is really hard for me to ask people anything, so even to join my email list when I know it would help them. So my business coach challenged me to reach out to it's like a group coaching program, and it's really tiny. There's only 6 of us, but we each have partners. But he challenged me to ask the others that aren't my partners for help. And it really forced me to, it was uncomfortable, really uncomfortable. They were all oh gosh, yes, and they signed up for these sessions, and the first girl called me, and she's like, so how can I help? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to ask for help, because I'm type A, control freak, oldest child, entrepreneur. I'm just, single mom. I know I've been doing things on my own since I was 6. So this week's lesson has really been it's really beneficial to ask for help. And like through the process of chatting with all these people, and I'm not even done, not only have I made like huge ahas or gotten really good tips on like the personal side, but the call I had today was this guy gave me like 4 brilliant marketing tips that I never would have thought of, that were amazing. So my big lesson is summer camps and ask for help.
That's a good. I'm right there with you. I hate asking. I'll ask my mom to fly down here and help me with the kids all day long. I have no qualms about that. But asking for help in my business,
Well, and even that, like I will ask for help from like my sister and my husband and my mom, but like you leave, and my best friend, like you leave that immediate inner circle, and I don't care what, like I have asking my neighbor to watch my son for an hour. Like I struggle with anything outside my immediate little circle. It's hard.
I think this is like an affliction that most women have, like, and it's I believe, and it's probably different for everybody, but it's like has to do with this like really deep-seated fear of rejection. Like, what if they say no, right? And it's like, I think especially in business, it's one of those things like we really have to get over that hump, because no one can do it alone. Like, you really cannot do it alone. And like we have this like really, like, just in society alone, like we have this crazy idea that like Apple was built by one person, right? Like, no, it totally was not. Like, Steve Jobs like was fired, right? Like, it wasn't built by one person. And like you have to, like, you can't do it alone, and asking for help is not weakness. It's the same as like compromise is not weakness, and then rejection is not the worst thing that can happen to a person. And I think it goes throughout. Like, I mean, it goes into our relationships, it goes into everything, but especially in business, because it's just like, well, who am I to ask someone else to help me with something that's going to make me money, right? Like, because there's like all these dirty connotations around that as well. And I think we need to get over it. Like, it's just really like, it's just like, what's the worst that can happen? Someone can say no. And I'm going through this right now, so like, it's just totally, it's not that it doesn't apply to me. I mean, I have to like price out some really expensive art that I've never sold before, and I'm just like, I've gone down to my husband's office a couple of times, and he's just like, what's the problem? Like, what are you waiting for? And I'm like, I don't know. And it is that, like, it's still that twinkling fear of rejection, of like being told no. At least that's what I've found with me. And it's just like, so what, right? Like, and he said that. He was like, you walk into a gallery, and what's the worst they can say? They can say no. And he's like totally like the opposite. Like, he doesn't care about people. Like, he doesn't care about what people think of him. He doesn't care. Like, he has his family around him, and that's all that matters. And that's good to be around, because it's just like, oh, like, it gives me strength. But like, as a woman, it's just like, not that I want everybody to like me, because I know some people just won't like me because I'm loud and abrasive, and that's just who I am. But it is that, like, what if they don't like what I'm doing? What if, like, and that we just need to get over that in business, because or else you just won't get ahead without help, right? Like, so.
Well, and I think, at least for me, I think rejection is an issue for everybody, but like the really, really big one for me is I am used to being the one that everybody comes to for advice. I'm the one who's in charge. So even my parents come to me for, opinions on money and relationship, and my sister. So for me, it really, truly is, I have to go into this position that I do not go in very often, of being the one who's not giving the advice.
Yeah, and like having to, like, for me, it's like trusting that someone will do as good of a job, if not better, than you would. Like, that's where my anxiety comes in with that. It's hard. Type A, man.
No, and I'm at the point right. It's funny you bring this up because I'm at the point where I just finished. I have one more week of really writing the content of my big Starters Club course. I've some people going through it, but now it's going to be time to really launch it now that I'm really clear on it and all that. And it's like I got to start reaching out to people and seeing if they'll go through it and give me feedback and help me promote it. And just that ask of, can you do me a favor, is like, blah, I don't want to owe anybody anything. Like it's, and then with my book, it's like I'm going to have to ask people for reviews, and just that ask of, I hate the favors, and I know it's not, I would gladly do it for someone else. It's not that I hold that over anybody's head, but it's just that asking of other people just makes me so uneasy. It's so uneasy.
I think, and I think this parallels our lives, and this is what we've all been saying, it's like business and home. And I think especially for women, I think especially for moms, I think we feel like we're supposed to be able to do everything. Like we feel like we're supposed to be the one that holds down the fort, that takes care of the family, that does the whole thing. And my mom, I actually, I missed 2 weeks here in a row because 2 weeks ago my mom had knee surgery, and so I was up with her and with my dad, just kind of helping them out. And it was kind of the same thing with my mom. And she had all of these friends and like her quilt group, and all of these people were asking if they could help her. But it was like that same thing. It was like she didn't want to, she felt like she was putting people out. She felt like she was, and I asked her, I said, well, what if like this friend, what if she was having knee surgery? Would you go over and sit with her so she wasn't bored, or bring her a meal, or drive her to her physical therapy, which is what everyone was offering to do? And she's like, well, of course I would. Of course. Oh, in a heartbeat I would. But it's like we don't let, it also like the person who you ask to review your book, like not only do they want that information, but they want to help you. Like they want to, they want to see you succeed, and I think sometimes we forget that. We feel so, like you said, oh yeah, if the tables were turned, I would do it in a heartbeat. But that's what everyone thinks, or at least, I mean, that's not what everyone thinks, but you know what I mean? Like the person that you're going to ask feels that way too. Like, oh, help out Erin? Yeah, absolutely. I would love to help you. But it is hard. I heard a great statistic. I went to a great talk on Tuesday night, and it was talking about how men, statistically, men close more sales than women. Right? So we've heard that before, but when the researchers looked at it, it's because men ask more often. So men also get rejected more often than women do, but they're, so it looks like they're closing more sales, but really it's because they're okay, Chandra, like you were saying, it's like they're okay with hearing that no, and women have a little bit harder time with it. So we don't ask as often, so we don't get as many yeses. We also don't get as many no's, but men are just like, let's just ask everyone, and someone will say yes. Someone will buy what I'm selling. So I thought that was an interesting statistic.
Well, and to that, it's the most important number that matters, right? Like, who cares how many no's they're getting versus yeses? They're just closing more deals, and that's the ultimate number that matters.
Right, exactly.
And I think the same applies. Sorry, I think the same applies for salaries and everything else. I mean, I think we're at a point now where there's been this turning point where we have, like, there are a lot more equal opportunities, especially with online businesses and stuff. And, like, for the most part, like, I think a lot of women just don't ask. And it's the no, N-O, and then there's the no, K-N-O-W, right? Like, where It's just like, I have to tell my kids over and over again these lessons of just like, it's okay not to know. And when you're a person, when you're an alpha, like like people do, like people have come for advice. My mom has asked me for advice since I was 3, literally. Like I remember like just how always being a fixer, right? Which is a very masculine part of personality, but like not knowing something is okay as well as hearing no, Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you guys. Do you think it's an American issue? Because we have a very large, in the 2 cities in Texas I've lived in, it's a very large international demographic. And there are, the Indian families and even the European families, they have grandparents living with them. Like, it's a team effort. Do you think it's because we're in America?
Oh, I absolutely. I can't speak to the business side of that with different, but But I think absolutely it is a cultural thing with the family side of it. I think because Americans just tend to be more separated from their families, they tend to not live as central. But I have quite a few international friends, local international friends, whose parents live with them. It's just like, that's just part of their culture, is like, oh, of course, yeah, well, my dad lives with me. Of course he does. Yeah. Like, that's just how we do it. And I think so I think it's that whole culture is built around it takes a village. And, and I don't think that exists in American culture as much.
Well, I think speaking to the business part of it as well, like, it is glorified. Like, pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and you can do it, and you're going to do it alone, and and that's how you are successful, and that's how everybody else is. And it's just not. And like, this is a new cult. I mean, this is like the last 100 years, not even, where, like, parents don't live, like grandparents, we don't have a nuclear family anymore. And it is totally, I believe it's cultural as well, on many, many different levels. So business and family.
I was going to comment on something really quick, going back to what you were saying, Megan, on, like, as long as there's that connection there with someone, like, no one, like, if you wouldn't have a problem helping someone, then you shouldn't have a problem letting them help you, type thing. And when you're talking about your book, Erin, it reminded me of what I encountered this week on Facebook, of course. But this guy, it's funny because it's a guy, like, we're part of the same Facebook group, whatever, but I'm not active in it. But I also feel like guys just have the, to ask someone something, like, without any hesitation, like that, like, no fear of rejection type attitude. And, like, I hate when people do this, and this is what really frustrates me about people that don't know how to, like, market correctly or even build relationships. But he was asking me, who I'd never talked to him ever before, through a private message, to frickin' rate his, I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak like that, what did he say? Oh, he could really use my help, and, like, giving him a review and stuff. It's like, you don't even know me, and that's slimy. Like, if it's that good, people will either catch on or do it to, like, just ask people that you're active with. Like, it's so frustrating. Like, don't think that you have the right to just ask me. You haven't even tried to build a relationship with me at all. That's
just a tactic, though, unfortunately. And
I've seen it with both. It's a male tactic.
Yeah, I think traditionally it has been, and that's how you got it. But I've gotten plenty from females that I've, like, met one time, or that have just, like, launched podcasts and stuff, and you're just like, sorry, I'm like 225 pounds. I am obviously not into the health scene, so I'm not gonna, like, listen to podcasts for fun.
Well, I think what annoys me about that tactic is I just got a LinkedIn message today, and I'm like, this was a guy, and I've been hit up from guys with this a lot lately. It's not so much the ask, it's if you're gonna blanket message me, then blanket message me. All right, just spam me. Don't pretend that you and I are BFFs and that you're doing me a favor by giving me your book. Or I have one of these days, I'm going to call this person out because he's done this to me, like, several times now. He first messaged me and told me that he had this great product that my audience would absolutely love and that I should promote it for him. And he was at Podcast Movement, and I called him. I walked up to him, and I said, hey, I'm Erin. I'm from the Starters Club, and you know me because apparently my audience would love your product. And he was like, what? Who are you? What? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Don't do that. And then he messaged me again recently. He went through his LinkedIn list and told me how I would be perfect for his mastermind and I would really fit. And I just wanted to write back to him and say, who the hell am I if you know me so well? Like, that's what irks me about how the men approach it. Like, they're doing you a favor and they know you. It's like, you don't know me, but like you were saying, you don't know me.
Yes.
Let me ask you first. And that's, I think, the tactic, but that was my going off on a tangent. That's what irks me about it. It's like, don't pretend you know me. Don't pretend we're BFFs. Like, get to know me and then ask. Don't blanket email me like we've been friends forever when you don't even know my last name. So anyway.
To me, the more annoying thing is when they do it not even on LinkedIn, but they literally email you from your contact form.
Oh, he did that too. Too.
I have a guy that keeps doing that for a finance product, and it has nothing at all whatsoever to do with my list. And he's like, "You won't respond." Like, guess why?
Oh, I can't unsubscribe, you jerk.
I got a phone call from, I mean, not to be too off topic, but I got a phone call from LinkedIn the other day. It was that
actually
LinkedIn? Not from someone who found my contact on LinkedIn, and I'm not even a pro on LinkedIn because I don't use it that much, and I thought it was interesting. It was the same time that Erin had just posted to our group, which y'all should all go over and sign up to the community, but I thought that was interesting that I'd never received a message from somebody on LinkedIn, and it was a guy. So not to male bash, but I think it goes both ways. But like, yes, people have more like gumption to use those tactics as well. You know, like I think more guys use them, but I've seen it across the board with everybody, and it's just like we should do a how to network post, like, you know, like genuine and authentic.
We really should.
Yeah. You guys, I've got my 30 days of connection challenge. It's exactly what it is. I started.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Gotta join it. All right, Taylor, we're running out of time, so I'll let you go. I can no, sorry, I can cut it mine short tonight because I've been babbling the whole time.
We can go over once in a while.
You know what? I think we could. That actually segues right into. I was gonna pick between two, but the whole networking thing segues right into one of the things I was gonna say this week is that I detest going to networking functions, and I went to one the other night, and the only reason why I went is because I was actually meeting up with a lady that we had a mutual friend, and I'm really close with this other lady that introduced me to her. So we mutually knew each other through this other entrepreneur lady. So I went to, go and meet up with her and, see what she was about, all that stuff. And she invited me to go to this networking event with her where she usually just kind of meets up with her friends. And so I didn't really go to network, but just being in that environment made me sick. And I just couldn't do it. I was not going to play the fake, oh, what do you do? Oh, I do this. Here's my business card. Please. And I was talking about this subject with the woman that originally introduced me to this other woman that I met. And we agreed that networking is fairly a new thing in terms of our society. I don't know, over the past 30 years or something, in terms of not masterminding, but going to events and just throwing the business card in someone's face, in terms of it being a fad type thing, or I guess just standard for what most people do. But people just do it wrong, and it's frustrating. And so we were just talking about the whole unnetworking thing and how to really make connections, because it's just, I don't know. I seek out people, and you never know what one person can lead you to. And so I'm all about the quality and not the quantity, and I think all of us here are, but it was just such a turnoff. I just wanted to get the hell out of there.
No,
well,
I agree.
I think because I've been self-employed since 2002. I'm done doing math. 2002. And there was bad people then. But it's getting worse.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that from lots and lots and lots of experience. But I think it's getting worse because if you do it right, it works. And so people are like, oh, networking works. It works. It works. That's how I built my first business, was networking. I got almost all of my clients from networking, some advertising, but almost all networking. But I did it right.
That's the way in which you pursue it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the networking term, that's just the term. But in terms of how people actually do it, like you're saying, you formed connections. You didn't go and just throw your business card in.
Right. But I think what has happened is people keep hearing networking, you need to network, it works, you need to do this, you need to do that. And so they're like, oh, okay, I need to go to this networking event and make a connection, not realizing that there's all these other steps in between. Like, that's just the way to meet the person. Mm-hmm. You're not immediately asking for business. And I think that's why they're getting worse, is people have seen the success and are now like flocking to it. And like, for me, the perfect example, and this will get us some hate mail, put us on the map, but low-level marketers should not be networking. That is not how you grow a multi-level marketing business. That is not how you grow it. Networking. Yeah. The only one I could possibly think of that you could do that is the whole suit one. You know, because yes, you go to the network, your guys build suits, whatever. That's not how you grow that business. But for some reason, somewhere along the line, they've decided that's how you grow a business. It's not the business for them. Mm-hmm. There's an entire different marketing approach.
Yeah. And there is a good book on this if anyone wants to look it up. I did read an excerpt of it, and it was awesome. And it's by Derek Coburn, called Networking is Not Working. It's awesome. But yeah, I just feel like people really need to learn how to learn that skill truly and use it for their benefit.
But it also comes down to, like, don't be a jerk. Right? Like, if you're, it's how you make friends. And it goes, I mean, it starts in elementary school. Like, it really does start back then. If you're the type of person that does well at a party and can talk to anybody, you know, like will never be, you know, you don't put baby in the corner, like, you're going to do okay at a networking event. But, like, there are the people that, you know, just like they think like you put a website up and you have an online business, right? Like you think you're going to show up to a networking event and you're going to throw a card in somebody's face and they're actually going to remember you. Why? Why are they going to remember you? Don't be a jerk, right? Like, I have a no a-hole policy in my life, and that very much includes business, and it very much included, you know, consulting and everything else. Sorry, I had to say that.
No, I run a networking group here and in Dallas, and we were at a meetup one night, and there was a good crowd. There was probably 40, 50 people there. And this chick who sold suits was sitting at the table having a nervous breakdown because the cards weren't coming around fast enough. And I'm like, what? Okay, all you want is this stack of business cards. You haven't met anybody at these tables. You just want this stack of business cards so you can add them to your list and tell them about the great suits you're going to sell and set up a party. That's not networking. That's not. And I'm a big preacher. I did the whole 30 days of connection challenge to teach you actually how to build a relationship, how to, you know, you can't expect to go to a networking event, stand up, give your 30-minute speech, and people are like, oh my God, I gotta give you my business, or I know it's like, there's a relationship perspective to it, and you're right, so many people they're just about collecting business cards and building a list that way, and we all know how I feel about that. It's not my favorite. But yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to give the link for your course, your challenge, Erin.
I'll put it in the group. It's just a starters club / 30 days of connection. And I think it's honestly going to be something, it's a 30-day quote unquote challenge, but teaches you 30 steps of what to do. And I think it's a group I want to keep going forever, like just to keep continually ongoing and learning how to do it, learning what's working for people, what's not. Because I'm with you, Andrea. That's how I built my first 2 businesses, was mostly through Google AdWords and networking are my 2 things that I use to build them. So
you should turn that into an autoresponder series.
Done. Already done. All right. Well, I will keep I've been heads down all week, just weeks, honestly. So I don't know if I have a specific lesson learned. I just wanted to full circle. I posted this in the group, but come back to last week, and we need to post last week because we had to do a Skype chat because Google Hangouts was out. But we really talked about, I wrote my first book, which was exciting, and then when I discovered what I needed to do after writing my first book, it stopped really being exciting because I was like, holy crap, the book was the easy part. And it was just like, okay, where do I go? And just the wealth of information and understanding what route to take. So the decision has been made. This go around, I am working with an editor. Just open that door. We've been emailing back and forth. That process has started. And then I'm going to go through Balboa Press. So it's about, what did I say? I think I've sent it to you, Andrea. It's like $1,000, but they do all your formatting for you. They get the hardcover. They do the book cover. They take care of it all from that perspective, because I know I want a hardcover and be able to sell offhand. So I just want to say that decision's been made. So moving forward in that direction. And now I've just been immersed in studying really how to take advantage of the Amazon ebook and the the launch of it, and really get the biggest bang for my buck. Because in true Erin format, what I tend to not do is plan, and then I'm like, oh yeah guys, I got a book. Go out and read it. It's awesome. Just whatever, sure. And then I'm on to the next thing. So I really, really want to do this right and get the legs working on it. So that's what I've been working on, and I'm launching the prestigious practice tomorrow again for another round. And then, like I said, really getting ready for a ramp up of the starters course in April. So it's just been heads down. And I started CrossFit this week and got my butt kicked by two 20-something females, and I'm really angry because I'm so competitive, and game on. So that's been my week. But
that's awesome. I'm glad you're doing a dead tree book as well, just because you're speaking. Yeah, that's what they're called. They're called dead tree books. But people like something tangible. I learned that with the children's book that I did for my brother, and when the hardcover came out, people just started buying. I mean, it's a children's book, obviously, but it's great for events. We have charity events, so we can give out when somebody donates a certain amount of money, and when you go speaking somewhere, you can have this book and just be and give it to somebody. And a good tip is to send 2 copies to someone, so that they can.
Godin does that.
Yeah, so that they can. His latest book, he actually made it so that you have to buy 2 copies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a good tip if you're doing a dead tree book. 2 copies, and then they if they like it, they'll give it to someone else, and that's the best thing you can do for publicity.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard his podcast with social media, drawing a blank, Michael Stelzner, but he was saying he made this where you have to buy at least 2, or you could buy 5 or whatever, and people were angry at him, sending him hate mail, I only want 1 because we have this inner thing that we can't just have a book sitting there. We have to give it to somebody, and some of these people didn't have anybody to give it to, so they were really angry with him that they couldn't just buy 1. He's sorry, just throw it away, but we can't throw it away. It's just not in our DNA to throw away a book.
Well, they need to take your 30-day networking course. Then they can know people.
Well, it's not a course, it's just a challenge. It's just a list I send you. That's all it is. So you don't even have to sign up for a course. Get it for free.
Really quick, Erin, are you going to put up a page for your book on your website?
Yes. So I'm in the process of doing, I copied, and there's a funny story. So I copied Chandra, and I have an Erin Smith. I'm doing ink. I'll tell you, it's Erin Smith ink, because obviously Erin Smith was taken. I know, it's a shocker. So I'm making that my speaking page, and we'll have a book on there. I bought the domain name for my book too. That I actually have it. I don't know if it's going to be. I maybe do a lead pages or something, just a basic page about the book. But I'm not going to build a whole website just to the book. But it will be on my Erin Smith page, which is on item number 115 on my I think I'm down to 120 items of things I need to get done. So it's on there.
It's a big mistake authors do a lot, though, is make a separate website for each book, and then it just dies when the book stops. When you move on to your next thing, it's really important to have a hub where you're everything going forward is just going to be on there, and then it can get archived. But yeah, I don't recommend. A lead page, that's fine, or a subdomain, that's fine, but not a whole separate website for.
I can't keep up.
No, there's no way.
No.
There's no way.
So.
Well,
I'm
and
glad
it's
that you're doing that, though.
One thing you could do is even buy the URL, but then it just directs to the page on your site.
Yeah, and I have the URL. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily have to create a completely different page. It's just when they type that in, they're looking for the book, they type it in, it just goes to thestartersclub.com.
Yeah. So, no, I agree. Yeah, so it'll go. I can do a couple different things. It's just trying to there's so much, like I said, I was like, oh, this is so great. I finished my book. I'm so happy. And then I'm like, crap, this is too much. But it's getting there. I definitely want to document everything I've learned for other people, hopefully, that are in the same position I'm in, because there's so much to learn. I almost got ripped off, got out of that one. Not ripped off, but there's a cheaper, easier way. And I'm glad I asked the questions I asked, because I discovered that was not a route I would have been wasting money. Let's just put it that way. Not ripped off, wasting money, where I could do things in a different format. So glad I asked the questions. So, all right. Well, sorry we went over, but lots to talk about tonight. Always good topics. Like we said, if you want to jump over to the Facebook group over at bit.ly/nobusiness, you can always talk to us over there. Keep the conversations going. We're in the process of switching over our iTunes subscription, so hang tight on that one. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and we will see y'all next week.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
ladies.
Bye, everyone.